Once again, I am your facilitator. I think it's important to share right away. I'm getting feedback now, Rebecca. Rebecca?
Hi, Mark. Yes, I'm here. I'm trying to figure out where it's coming from. I'll take care of it.
Okay, I'll just keep going.
Yes, please.
I want to just share that this is a social studies network, and I am a language arts teacher by trade. But I think that that really helps because as we know the Common Core right now, most teachers are using English language arts standards in the social studies class. We are focusing on our reading and writing skills and getting deeply into nonfiction. So hopefully with that English language arts background, I'll be able to lend some expertise there. Rebecca has already introduced me, so I won't spend a great deal of time on this. You will have these slides so you know a little bit more about me. I am an ASCD author and faculty member. Learned in 5 is a resource that I may share throughout our time together and may lead you to at other times. And if you want to follow me, all the information that you need from me is here. Again, just a quick overview. The Gates Grant is something that is a tremendous opportunity for all teachers because of the amazing resources that it shares with secondary teachers in all core subjects. There are some instructional shifts going on with the Common Core. These are just the areas, some of the areas that we're going to focus on throughout. And once again, I don't want us to feel like we are stuck in any of these areas. We're going to have this whole community kind of driven by you. But as you can see here, these are some of the shifts that we're talking about, kind of built around Common Core. And here are a few more. Again, we hear the word focus and coherence and rigor, and sometimes we may flinch when we hear these things because we're not totally sure where to head with those. That's why we're here today and moving forward. Again, with the grant, we're looking at a 2-year endeavor right now. Each year we'll have 5 webinars, and this one here is the convening. We'll do another one of those next year. The webinars are content specific. In other words, we are focused on social studies, and we also have the webinars and the virtual learning network in general for the other subjects as well. They're all hosted by an ASCD faculty member. They are recorded live and also archived on EduCore, which I think makes it great if you want to return to them. And I believe that there may also be a link provided to some PDFs as well if you want to revisit these slides. What I would like to do to get us going, because since this is a community and it's really driven by you, and I'm just a facilitator, I don't want to spend the entire time today in this webinar with me sort of just talking at you over slides. So what I thought we might do is kind of take the opportunity here to get some interaction going if possible. So what I was hoping for is that we would use our question box, and maybe at some point I might even pass the microphone to someone if they really want to speak. We've got a way that I can give you the mic and you can talk, and people here at the webinar can hear you as well. So we want to come together and talk about issues. So we're going to focus on problems of practice. What problems are you experiencing as you shift into the Common Core? What resources do you need? What do you feel that maybe we can provide that you don't have? And what specific skills would you like to focus on as we move forward in future webinars and also on ASCD Edge? We will have some sources and some work built around specific skills. And I certainly think it's important that you drive what those are. What do you need work on as the classroom teacher that we can all get at together? So if we could, and maybe you're doing this already, Rebecca, I'm having trouble getting into the questions now. if we could type some questions in our question box, I could take a look at those. We could answer together, and perhaps in a moment, if someone wants to, maybe we can learn how to. I think we can raise our hand just by maybe if you click on the hand on your control panel. If you'd be interested in speaking to the group, we could do that as well. Rebecca, I think I'm going to need your help now because I'm not.
Okay.
The questions aren't opening.
Questions haven't come in yet, so.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did we go over how someone might raise their hand or to decide if they would like to take the microphone?
There should be provided you're wearing a headset with microphone, so we don't end up with a feedback loop, you are welcome to raise your hand. There should be a little icon on your control panel that has the little hand motion on it, and if you press that, it means you are available to ask a question, and we can see who has their hand raised.
Okay, so then let's just, again, in the interest of time, because I have a lot of information, and I think it works well for in the room here for us to communicate with one another. Let's just go ahead and move forward, but let's feel free, sort of like if you were at a conference and the presenter said if you want to tweet stuff out, go ahead and do that. Let's just go ahead and type in our questions as we go. And again, if you feel like, boy, there's something I really want to ask right now, you could maybe raise your hand if you don't type it in, and let's get some interaction when the time comes. So I'm going to go ahead and move us forward. And some of the things we're going to talk about when we're really focused on sharing, and that's what this is about, ASCD Edge. In a while, I'm going to show you some slides to really understand how to use Edge, how to get into our group. It's critical that people who are part of this virtual learning network jump into the ASCD Edge group and participate. So we've got ways there to share comments and resources and video, audio, photos, pretty much anything and everything. So that's coming up. And then EduCore is the other thing we really want to make sure we're comfortable with today, because this is the resource that is funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and you're going to see that this is just an amazing thing that you want to share with your colleagues and you want to use in your classroom, because it is a tremendous free resource. So again, talking about moving forward, we are in phase 1, and that means basically year 1. We are convening today and talking about how we want to proceed. We'll have 4 more webinars throughout the year, and those dates will all be on our ASCD Edge site, and I'll post the next one at the end of this webinar today. And those are structured around that problem of practice. In other words, what is going on that we need to improve upon? What skills do I want to acquire? You know, we're going to talk about challenges, we're going to collaborate, all of these things in moving forward. In phase 2, there's that phrase that you've probably heard with Common Core, deeper dive. We want to know, how can we get into Common Core standards and truly master them as educators and do what's best for our students in making them ready to move forward, college ready, and all of the things that they need. There is some measurement, evaluation during this grant, and you know, one of the things that I want to make sure everyone understands is that when you're asked to do some surveys or any kind of pre or post assessment about the network and the webinars and all of that, don't get too worried about this in terms of time. I know that teachers aren't typically eager to jump into surveys because, you know, we're always worried, how much time am I going to put into this and what's really going to come back of value. These are all going to be very brief, and they're going to be extremely valuable to us moving forward as administrators and facilitators of the virtual learning network. At some point, we're going to hope to maybe get work samples that are built around the things that we're doing in here, and these are all the kinds of things we will talk about moving forward in webinars and on ASCD Edge. Speaking of ASCD Edge, this is a critical piece, and if you don't know anything about Edge, this is a great time for you because we all need to get on board with EDGE, and it's really easy, and it's a fantastic resource, and it's free. So ASCD EDGE is a site for ASCD members, community. Is free. We can blog there. We can do all kinds of things. But what we want to focus on today is groups, because we have a private social studies virtual learning network group on ASCD EDGE that we are going to use. So as I go through these slides, once again, if there's anything you have a question about, you want to type it in that question box, or you want to raise your hand and grab the microphone, feel free to do that. So the web address is here, but you could always go to Google and type in ASCD EDGE if you forgot that, and it would take you right to it. And you do want to register. I'm going to give you a link to a video in a few minutes that if you want to watch it, it's just kind of a quick how to do ASCD EDGE. But what I want to focus on is groups. So when you get there, you see the groups tab that I have the arrow pointing to. Now, once we get into groups, and you can see, I mean, there's hundreds of groups on ASCD EDGE. What this is teachers who come in and say, I want to talk to other educators about this specific thing, and they create the group, and then other people join. You can create a group if you like once you're on ASCD EDGE. What you see here is I've got the arrow pointing. I've gone into the part where under the Q to Z section, and I've got the arrow pointing over, and you can see that these VLNs are private, virtual learning networks. But you see the social studies group, so you would want to click into that and join the group. Once you do that, I have to approve you, which of course I'll do right away, but we are focusing this group on people who are a part of this virtual learning network. So what you'll get later then, once you're in the group and you go to your home ASCD EDGE page, you will have a groups section. If you see on the left of this screenshot, the M's by all the Y's are blocked out, but you see it says my profile, media, discussion, and so on. And this is my group. So I just clicked into my groups on this shot. You can see that I'm a member of several groups. And right at the top is the VLN Social Studies group. So once we click into that, this is what it looks like. And once you're on board with this, you're going to see that this sort of becomes a real hub for us in terms of what we're doing in the virtual learning network. Right at the top, group message. You can see that this is something I do, and I put the messages in. So the one I put in for the few members we had signed up before today was a reminder about this webinar with a link that would have opened directly to the GoToWebinar page. And I will do that for all of them. And occasionally I may put another message up there that would be important for everyone. So you can see that there's settings in here. Now some of these are just for the admin. I'm the only one that can make it private or public. But you'll see that you get options in terms of alerts and things like that. I think it's important to get those email alerts because you're going to want to know when people in this virtual learning network post. Okay, so I just scrolled down on the page on this shot here, and this is really where we're going to have a lot of conversation. Now I could post a blog in here. You can post in here, but you see what I did. It wasn't 39 minutes ago, but a few days back. I just wrote a message in here kind of heading into this webinar. What would you like to learn about social studies and the Common Core? And this is really for anybody who comes in. We're going to discuss this at the convening, which we're doing right now. What practices are you employing to integrate Common Core state standards? This is a piece then when you come into the group, you see at the bottom, it really just becomes a chat room. You know, think of it sort of as a professional Facebook page where we can come in and we can communicate with one another. And you see on the right there's the calendar. I will keep you well apprised of virtual learning network events and maybe anything else that I felt is important outside of the network and put it on the calendar. And then you'll see on that side there's a lot of other resources as we move forward. Shared resources, group blog posts. So what we want to do is become communicators, content curators, and really share out in this group. You can post videos, you can post photos, there's all kinds of things that we can do in here, and the key is we're helping each other get better at Common Core. So once again, ascdedge.ascd.org, and if you don't remember that, or if you haven't bookmarked it, you can just search ASCD Edge on Google and you'll find it, and get into the groups, register for ASCD Edge if you haven't done so already. ASCD Edge, by the way, has just an amazing amount of educators on here, and I feel it should still be bigger. I mean, there's probably 40, 50,000 plus educators on ASCD Edge who come in here all the time and post blogs, and what they're doing is sharing information about best practices, and some great conversations come on here. I've posted a lot of things on here, so if you ever want to check and see some of my writing, it's on here as well. Okay, so that's ASCD Edge, and again at this point I haven't seen any questions come in, but I'm not totally sure that my control panel is working right, Rebecca. So if something comes in, I'm sure you'll let me know. Or if someone, again, wants to take the microphone and ask a question or make a comment or anything at all, feel free to do that, because right now it's all me. On this
Mark, this is Rebecca. I just wanted to let you know that Wendy McFarland had a comment just saying that she teaches online to high school students, and this has been a challenge as I build my course to meet my slightly outdated state standards in Common Core, and that she's in Arizona. Welcome, Wendy.
Oh, great. Yeah, thanks, Wendy, for sharing. I appreciate that. And again, anyone else, Rebecca's our moderator here, and she's seeing all the things that I'm not seeing as I present, so feel free to jump in and share your comments, or if you'd like as well, ask some questions. And you know, those are the kinds of things that you know, Wendy's example is one that I think is important for us to see what we're going to do here. You know, I think that with Common Core, it's something that is rolled out so quickly. And, you know, when it first came out, it was sort of like everyone wondered, you know, is this really going to happen? And we kind of took a seat and said, I don't know that I'm going to do much. I'm just going to kind of do what I do. And then the next thing you know, it's sort of like, okay, it's in my face now, and we got to teach it right now, and we got to prepare kids for tests, and it's, wow, how do I do this? So I think there is, you know, there's some anxiety, and in many cases fear. You know, I had a chance to look at some surveys that ASCD did with educators, many of whom I'm sure are part of these networks now, and it was all about, what do we know? What have we done? How much training have we had? And, you know, it's amazing to see the numbers. So, you know, if you come in and you think, oh, you know, everybody probably knows more than I do, trust me, I've seen those numbers, and they don't. It's amazing how little people really have in terms of a grasp on how do I handle Common Core in my classroom, and we're going to flesh out those needs. So once again, on this screen here, I said earlier that I would provide that link for you to a video, and this is not so much focused on groups or virtual learning network. It's just a video on ASCD Edge and how to use it, how to register, some of the features that I probably didn't cover that you might want to know. So you might want to take a look at that before you dive in. But please do dive in soon, because we need to use that community. Okay, so I want to move on and talk about EduCore. And well, I can't hardly say enough about EduCore. This is a resource that I think, you know, once you're finished probably on this webinar, I think people are just, they're going to race off to one of two places, and I don't know which is going to come first. It's either going to be EduCore or ASCD Edge. But you're going to be amazed by what's in here. You know, when I realized that I was going to be a virtual learning network facilitator, you know, which was pretty overwhelming for me because I'm where I'm imagining most people here are. You know, I'm still learning. And boy, I dove into EduCore, and I was just blown away by the resource. What you have here is a suite of tools, strategies, videos, documents, pretty much anything and everything you're going to want. And it isn't all canned. I mean, that's what I love about EduCore is while there are some modular pieces that you can kind of grab and say, okay, I need something today and I can move this into my class right now, there's also some pieces that are more like templates that are just resources for help that say, hey, you can use this and you can put in your own material, your own information. I know one of my biggest fears when Common Core came around was that it was just going to be nothing more than the old standards and you know, maybe with just a few twists, and it was still going to be that, you know, sort of make teachers robots. You just stand there and you spit out something from some Common Core workbook, you know, because that's how it was, at least for me. I'm in Ohio. Back with the old standards was, you know, we had workbooks and we just pulled out a worksheet and it was all aimed at the test. And, you know, what I find on EduCore is that it's so different from that. So you're going to love it when you get there. And again, here's a web address for you. But, you know, all these lengthy URLs, you know, .ascd.org and all we may not remember. Search EduCore, you'll find it on Google very easily. Bookmark it, I'd say, once you get there because it's something you're going to use. You see here it says log in or register. You don't have to register for EduCore to take advantage of the resources, but I think you do want to register. Keep in mind it's free. And there are some things you can do as a registered member that you can't in the not registered version. So I would do that. Again, this is what you've got and more. Videos. There's so much to read about the Common Core, about with articles that you might want to use in class. Things that just help you with information wrapped around Common Core. There's creating, and I just love that word. You know, you just sometimes we take it for granted, but we don't think about creating. We think that it's already there, it's all canned, and it really isn't here.
Mark, this is Rebecca.
Yes.
Jeanette has a question. She wanted to know if EduCore is targeted for K through 12 or just high school.
I don't believe that it's just high school, and I would say it is K through 12, and honestly, who was it? Rebecca? Jeanette.
Jeanette asked the question, but yes, I am of the same belief that it is K-12, not just high school.
K-12, yeah, and I didn't want to say 100% and be wrong on that. EduCore is new, quite honestly, to, I think you're going to see all of the facilitators. It's a little bit new to us as well, and we're still getting comfortable with it, but I think it's a K through 12 resource. The best thing I would do is dive in and take a look. This screen that I'm on now is the Literacy Design Collaborative, LDC. Much of the tools that you'll use you'll find here. And this page right here has videos, and these videos are just amazing. You know, when I first started learning of EduCore, I sat down and said, let me take a look at these videos and see exactly what is this Literacy Design Collaborative, what is EduCore, and how does it help me? And the videos will help. So maybe now we're saying, okay, this sounds good. I'm hearing this guy say a lot about resources. I'm hearing him say there's stuff I can use. Where is it? Show it to me. I love this here. If you look on this left menu, and this is such a user-friendly site, and it's my understanding that there's still development going on this EduCore site, and it's going to be even better than it currently is. The social studies examples where the arrow is pointed to. I come in, and you can look at all of the examples. You can, you know, it might help to look at some English language arts as well. And once I click into that, now I jump to a different screen that I didn't share, but you'll see a whole list of links to choose from with various teaching units, modules, standards, and then from there it's like a library. And what I did just for this webinar, I wanted to show you something that I feel is, pretty meaty, that you can look at and say, okay, this looks like something that I can use. So it says teaching task, and you see it makes suggestions on what to share. It gives you a task as the educator. So you might be saying, okay, what am I going to do with this? Here's a standard. How do I teach it? What resources do I use? And rather than groping and saying, I have to run out and do all of this research to find something, you come to this source and look at the wealth of information that's here, and all of these articles and the links directly to them. And you can just, surf in and out of these and say, okay, which one works for me? And there's that autonomy piece again that I like so much. The idea that, I might say, well, I don't want journey times from London. That's not something that I'm going to use. Well, I can look at any of the other ones, and there's a whole variety of them. And if I don't like this exact task, I can find more. This glossary piece is really nice. And again, you guys are going to find so much on EduCore. I'm just, in preparing, I went through and thought, what are some things that kind of leap out and look exciting? So to me, I like the glossary. If I'm teaching and I think here's a word, a vocabulary word, and vocabulary is so critical with Common Core. It's an area that we've been found to be weak in really all subjects. So as I'm thinking, what's the vocabulary that's important for kids to understand? I've got a huge glossary of terms, and I come down and I just pointed out this aggression, and it gives me some information there. It gives me channels for the term, and then below again, resources for the term. And if I click into that, I wind up at a page similar to the one that I just showed you. So, it's really easy to use, and there's amazing stuff here. You notice up where it says My Resources, just to the right of the orange tabs. Again, if you are registered, what's nice is you can create your own resources page. You can save things. There's a journal piece built right into EduCore. I love that. So you can write your own notes on any lessons you find, anything moving forward. You can create agendas. This is a powerful tool. So again, just focusing on what to do. Watch videos. You'll find that there's tons of them. The magic word today is share. Share them out with your colleagues, in your PLCs, in your faculty meetings. Hey, here's a marvelous source. What can we do with this? You're getting help from a group like this, then go back to your PLCs and get help from your colleagues in your subject area. There's a wealth of information to read. Spend your time here, and it's really going to serve you well back in the classroom. So much to learn about the Common Core. How do I meet Common Core state standards, literacy standards, if I'm not an English teacher? Well, what a fabulous question for someone who's a social studies teacher to say, let me go to this place and let me find these resources and let me get these answers. And then bring them back to this community. And then let's flesh them out together. And that's what I love about the Virtual Learning Network. Create, I talked about that. The whole idea of using the Literacy Design Collaborative to create your pieces, to use the modular function that EduCore provides, but to turn it into something that is uniquely yours. Because, that's what teachers want. And I talk to so many teachers out in the field who are scared of Common Core, and they're scared that it's going to take away who they are as an educator. And I think that this EduCore is going to make it so that doesn't happen. Explore, and as I said, I feel like when we're finished here today, that's exactly what people are going to do. I think there's going to be a whole lot of exploring going on EduCore. Just some other tips on how to use it. Faculty meetings, gives you this gives you a marvelous tool to share out in a faculty meeting. You know, if your principals are unaware of EduCore and ASCD Edge and all, make sure that you let them know that you're involved in something like this. You know, this is a marvelous opportunity from ASCD, and you want to go and you want to share with them, and you know, just make sure, you know, tell them about the ASCD name carries so much weight anyways, and you say, hey, I'm a part of something special through ASCD and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and we've got this amazing tool. And if you just want to, let's say, pick a video and share it out at a faculty meeting, it's an amazing thing to do. Again, your PLCs, all of this stuff, connect and share. Okay, so, boy, that's a lot of information for me, and it feels like a short time. Where do we go from here? And it's important that we can still have some conversation here. People can still ask questions. But before we end, it's really important to leave here with some sort of direction and closure where we understand what to do next. So first of all, EduCore. Go to the site, register for the site, watch those literacy design collaborative videos, explore, figure out how to make use of this amazing resource. ASCD Edge, really important. Please go to Edge. If you're not a registered member of ASCD Edge, make sure you register. It's very easy and free. And then go to Groups and get to the Social Studies VLN in the groups and register there. And again, remember, it'll say that you have to be approved. I'm in that group constantly, and the second that someone goes in, and maybe not the second, shortly thereafter, I will go in and approve you, and then start talking. And that's the other thing is start talking. Back here, January 14th, boy, the year just flew by, didn't it? And I know in the classroom it's hard to believe. You're probably getting through, almost ready to be through a semester. So January 14th, and that's a 2014 year, we come back for our next webinar, and this is where we really want to deal with those problems that we talked about earlier. We want to think problem of practice, and you know, I think we're going to figure out what skill we want to work on in that webinar based on conversation. Okay, so keep in mind, as the facilitator, my role is to create that webinar. So I'm gonna build those slides. Thankfully, a lot of my colleagues helped me build the slides in this one. But in that one, you know, I'm going to be building out that presentation based on your desires. What do you want? And that means conversation. Conversation here, maybe before we go. Conversation on ASCD Edge. I'll be in there. I'll be asking questions, and I need you guys to respond. What are you learning from EduCore? What are you finding that maybe we all need to know? What are you not quite sure of that maybe we need to flesh out together? And if we get a lot of information and can come up with, you know, just a handful of skills moving forward, you know, think of the things that are important. You know, close reading. How does this work exactly? The kinds of materials to present, and you'll find tons of that on your EduCore site. You know, how do we flesh out the standards from the material? The writing piece. You know, I know that I had my social studies colleagues were often came to me to talk about writing. You know, I've got this piece here, and I've got this learning outcome or standard, but you know, how do I get my kids to get there with the writing? And I think that's a really important piece to talk about as well. And again, hopefully my writing and English language arts background will help us in that area. So we have to use all the sources. We have to use everything I've shared here today. We have to use each other. You have to use me. And let's all get better. So I think that's all I have. So Rebecca, if we have any questions, or if anybody wants to, you know, you could feel free to talk. Anybody who's in the room who wants to talk, if you've got a mic and you'd like to say something, feel free. If we have questions that we've written out and shared with Rebecca, we could cover those now. Otherwise, I think we're going to wrap this up.
I do not have any additional questions at this time. If anyone wants to type some in or raise their hand and speak online, we're happy to take your questions. Give you another minute here or two. I know not all of us are fast typers.
This was supposed to be an hour, and we're at about 40 minutes, I think, right?
Yes, yes we are. It happens. It's a busy time of year.
Yeah, and it's been a lot from me, though. I'm tired.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not seeing any additional questions at this time, so if you'd like, we can go ahead and wrap up here. Mark, thank you.
Let me just say a final thing,
Absolutely.
Rebecca,
Sure.
and then I'll let you close it out. And I know, this is, I'm probably sounding extremely repetitive, but keep in mind, in these webinars, for like when we come back here in January, hopefully if we've had any issues with getting on, people will work through those. Try to come in prepared to share if you can ask questions, or if you get a microphone and grab on. We really have to be a community. That's what this is. And get over to ASCD Edge and don't be shy. Don't think, well, I got to wait for someone else to say something. Jump in and type and share. If you've got a really great thing that you think works and you think, boy, this would help, let's go ahead and do that, because we're all learning together, and the magic word again is share. So I appreciate your time today, and Rebecca, I'll let you wrap it up.
Okay, great. Thank you.